Why do you do it all the time?
So anyway, you said something about being an idiot on the screen. I don't remember. Well, I mean, he said it. I didn't.
Oh, I almost put Chris up there too, but he stopped right before I was ready to hit the button.
Yeah, Chris.
He learns. He knows me by now.
He's a master trickster, so he don't fall for something like that.
Mm-hmm. What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Book Club. This week we are discussing I Don't Have My Headphones.
Oops.
I'll be right back.
Two.
Okay. I forgot my headphones.
Should we all go out again and then come back?
Yeah.
We're on book club. We got to have technical difficulties at the beginning of every show.
Seriously.
Hey, Kelly. Hey, Katrina Scopini. Hey, Daniel Disinfinity.
I do.
Thank you, Steve.
Tina's Neil. T. McNeil. Hello.
Why aren't my headphones working? Son of a nutcracker. Come on.
Hey, Tim Pruitt.
Hey, Chris.
Welcome to my wonderful guest today. We have Tina from T. Marie's Place.
Hey, the Mr. Bunch. Hey, Kelly.
Tracy from Tracy Glenn Kinsey Day's dad.
That's me! That's me! He said my name!
We have Gina
Hi.
from, and I never can remember Gina. What's your
Classy Disney Mom.
Classy Disney Mom? I knew it was something Disney Mom, but I couldn't remember the other word. Sorry.
Okay.
And Russ from What in the Heck with Russ is.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Thank you, Chris.
Would you like your show back now, Tina?
Well,
Hey, Blooming Cheesa.
it's our show, first of all. Richard, welcome in. Good to see you. Thank you guys so much for joining. I apologize for my technical difficulties. Big thanks to Chris, for taking over chat.
You should have done it in your microphone voice.
I should have. Yeah.
Yeah. But then he'd be Shep. So,
True.
yeah. All right. So today we got the last two chapters of James Bond, Ian Fleming's On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Have a box of tissues next to you. Just saying. So.
Hey, Garrett.
Right. So we left off. Hey, Garrett. So we left off chapter 25,
Garrett.
where he's at Station Z.
Hey, Garrett.
And now I'm Shep. Brain.
Couldn't help it.
No, clearly not. So chapter 26 starts off with, we have my children invading my book club. Chapter 26.
That's part of the chapter?
I don't remember that part.
I don't either. Was that in there?
No. Chapter 26 is Happiness Without a Shadow. And of course my kids are off the wall. So they're at the passport. They're at the airport. The Munich.
Your kids are?
No. Okay.
She sent him to Munich? Is that what she said? That's pretty drastic.
We're going to stop. We're going to switch gears. We're going to exit kid zone and enter book zone. All right?
Okay.
Ready?
Okay.
Can we do this? Okay. Ready? Bond, Teresa are at Munich airport, where she met him outside passport control. And she has a couple of words to say to him. What have they been doing to you? What have they been doing to you now? She's like already wifeying him and scolding him. And then she's crying. She's like, now you've ruined my eye black. I put it on so carefully for you. That cracked me up. I love that. So I don't know where Tracy went. I didn't say Tracy. I said Teresa. So words are being exchanged. They're getting ready to go. I lost the book. Okay. My goodness. Oh, no.
Hey, Kelly.
Oh no. There we go. Okay. I lost the chapter. My beautiful Kelly. Hello. How are you? Squirrel. So yeah, conversation. They're in the car. More conversation. Russ, what's your take on this chapter? What do you think? I'm all frazzled, guys.
So they're in the car. They're talking, and yeah, she's kind of badgering him at first, but then realizes, he is okay, and he kind of feels selfish for taking on the mission, but it needed to be done. He says. So she basically tells him, it's okay, just deal with me being this way, because I am, and don't change. He wants her to stay. She didn't want him to change at all.
Right. And I really, really love how he stops and thinks to himself, and he's like, he hadn't thought of her, only of the job.
Right.
It crossed his mind because no one ever really cared for him
Mm-hmm.
the way that she does, which for me hit me a lot because obviously I know what happens at the end of the book, and all I kept thinking was foreshadowing a lot of this conversation, especially where they say, where is it? Nope, that's in the later part of the book. I'll get to that afterwards. So as they're driving, aren't they? Bond is experiencing. Nope, he's reading the headlines of the newspaper.
Yeah, he looks in the back seat, and she's gotten him a paper.
I'm getting two different car scenes mixed up in my head.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Yeah, don't go ahead.
Yeah, don't go mixing up your car scenes.
I'm trying not to. So, he's reading the headlines, and then he comes to the headline that hello. He comes to the headline that talks about the girls being taken care of, and the headline that where is the headline? It said England polio scare. And he talks about how you had the top, CID, MI5, Ag and Fish, HM Customs, Passport Control, the Ministry of Health, and the government of Erie, or however you say it, all coming together to piece that article, just the way that they wanted it for, for their, for how it should have been, written. And he's reminiscing, and he says, the case is closed, the assignment's over, but the big one had got away. And so this is still in his mind, and he's obviously mulling over it. At least it seems like it. Yeah. So when they get to the hotel, they get a phone call from Marc-Ange in Tracy's room. And this is at first this struck me weird because Tracy has her own room than Bond. And I'm like, they're getting married and they just didn't get a room. Obviously, I don't know why my brain thought that they would, but we'll find out afterwards why.
It's Tracy.
Could we go back to calling her Teresa?
Yes, I thought I was calling her Teresa.
You were not.
My apologies, good sir. I'll go back to calling Teresa.
We could call you Teresa and call her Tracy.
That's true. We could do that.
Tim, I liked you.
I'm sorry.
I really did. I was trying really hard.
That's why I have so much trouble having friends.
Right.
Life's so much easier when you have no friends. And you don't have to care about nobody.
Yeah.
You should be like James Bond. See what happens?
Yeah, true. Good point. I'm sorry, Tracy.
Thank you, Tim.
Now he's repentant. So, all right. So, any thoughts so far before we go on any further?
I kind of. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, it's weird because it's like sometimes the mic is a little bit delayed, so it seems like you're interrupting someone, but then it's like you hear it like after like a second, So yeah. I'm sorry if I interrupted. I was just gonna say that I feel like, she is just very different, obviously, from an ordinary woman, just because it's like she's worried about him. And I thought this was interesting. She's worried about him. She's, concerned, but because of, like her background, she balances it better. And I think it's like a good fit, and I think we're going to see it again later on too, in the next chapter. But I just thought it was kind of interesting, that it's like she's exactly what, when she says, like, don't change, be what you are. I don't know. I just thought it was interesting, and I liked that.
And that's so much different than what Billy Joe told me when we met. She said, totally change. I don't like who you are. I'm going to tear you down, build you up.
How'd that work out?
Special. And, just the other day, she said she's still waiting for someone special to come. I don't know. It's been 26 years, almost 27. But
you still friends with her?
No.
Yeah, that's what. See.
Wow.
Well, she grew up with.
Hey, Amy.
Welcome in, Amy.
What?
We're greeting Amy.
Hey, Amy.
We
She grew up with Mark Hahn, so yeah, she was kind of used to trouble. I mean, I guess she probably always figured her dad might not make it home sometime too. So, I mean, he was. I guess. Well, there's more to the personal life, but I'm sure she knew what business he was in. So
yeah,
I mean, it took her a while before she figured out what kind of business he was in. But
well, I mean, and that's if you remember back, the very beginning of the book, that's kind of why she was going to kill herself, because she was. I mean, she lived in this world that she didn't want to live in.
Well, true.
She was trapped, and then it took Bond to bring her out of it. And this is the happiest day of her life now. That she's finally got her man. So, hey, Rhonda.
Yeah, welcome in, Rhonda. So, yeah, I mean, I love that because she loves him for who he is. Mm-hmm. She doesn't want him to change. She wants him just as he is, and that's how it should be. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe Tracy and Billy just have had it. I don't know, but
No, I joking. I love my wife. She loves me too.
I know. Just razzing.
Not what you told me.
So yeah.
Hey, John.
Right. She's standing over you with a club. Make sure you say the right things.
Oh man.
No, she's not here. I got this house to myself.
I owe you anyway. You put my wife up to breaking my feet.
Hey, just because we were going to read Misery.
That was your idea.
It was.
Okay, I'm through.
No, that's fine. It looks like Mrs. Recht is dealing with some child care.
Yes.
Keep talking. I'll be right back.
Oh, we're going to keep just talking? So let's go back to chapter 4, shall we?
Yeah. Chapter 4's got. Chapter 4 has influenced this whole book reading because that's why she expects them to be in the same room.
That's why, yeah. She remembers what happened in chapter 4, thinking, man, they're going to get together before they get married.
Oh yeah.
All right. So
let's see where Tina's mind was.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, whoa! What? I just had a 6-year-old in my ear. Where was my mind?
Never mind.
Okay. I can't trust you guys with anything. Okay, so we get a phone call from Makanj, and she says, yes, he's right here. He's safe. We're fine. And then he needs to have a conversation with Bond. Teresa goes in the bathroom.
All right, well, you kind of remember when she first sees him, and she said, Mark Ange is called. So her father's called. He's worried about him because he hasn't seen him. Mm-hmm. So Bond finds out right from the get-go that at least Mark Ange came out of this.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
because they hadn't seen each other since Bond took off after Blofeld, and
Correct. So for all Mark Ange knows that he could have perished in that bobsled.
yeah, or in the Bond. Well, that's true. In this, he did know that, but in the movie it kind of ran that together. But so he could have been back in the lab with the explosion with Blofeld at that point, because I don't think they knew he was on the bobsled at that point. In the movie.
Yeah.
Never mind. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. I've only seen 15 minutes of the movie. Let's just remember that.
Okay.
So hold on. Tina McNeil says, Tina, you need to make sure to put Gina in charge when you need to leave for a minute. You know what? That's a very good idea, and I'm going to do that. From now on.
Tina.
No, listen. Like I say, this isn't my book club. This is all of our book club. So you guys are amazing. All right. So now he's on the phone with Mark Ange, and the one of the most interesting, he says he lost 2 guys, but the helicopter ride was interesting. They'll discuss that later, whatever. Bond thinks Blofeld is in Italy by now, at least that's the direction he was going in. And that he asks about the female, Irma Bunt. And
He actually didn't ask about the female. What about the girl friend?
The girl, yeah.
Girlfriend.
The girlfriend. And
So was that
So what I think Bond thinks that him and that Blofeld and Irma Bunt is like an item.
Okay. Well, I was trying to figure out, because he said that, but I didn't remember it ever saying that anywhere.
What?
But that they were attached.
They were. I don't
know. I think he kind of just says that as a joke. I mean, what about the girlfriend? It's
they are kind of talking
because she's always around him.
Yeah, true.
She was
Good
like
point.
this. Yeah. So, all right. So let me get back to the book. Hold on. Okay, so Blofeld says there was no sign of her. And then she says, can I come out of the bathroom now? And Bond's like, 2 minutes, darling. And so he gets on the phone with Station M, and he arranged to visit the head of the station, a man he knew slightly, called Lieutenant Commander Savage, in an hour's time. He released Teresa, and they made plans for that evening, and then he went along to his room. So here's where things get a little bit fuzzy for me. So he's taking a shower in his room. He's getting all fresh and clean, I guess. Meanwhile, he's all bandaged up, so he's in pain while he's doing this. And not in pain. He's trying his hardest not to get the bandages wet while he's doing this. And then puts his dark blue raincoat on and went down into the street along to the Odeon's Platz, whatever that means. And then he spots someone.
No, he didn't spot.
He didn't spot her?
No.
No, that's the thing. He didn't see. He
didn't notice it at all.
Yeah, they described it as he was in a different place in his mind,
right.
And wasn't.
Yeah. Okay.
But the book described her. I mean, she was there, but he didn't see her.
Yeah, in a frosty dark
green. If he had, it would have helped.
Right. Who gave a start of surprise when she saw him sauntering along, hustled across the street through the traffic, and then got on his tail. She was expert at what she was doing, and when he went into the newish apartment house in the Odeon's Platz, she didn't go near the door to verify the address, but waited on the far side of the square until he came out. Then she tailed him back to the Vier, whatever that place is, took a taxi back to her flat, and put in a long-distance call to the Metropole Hotel on Lake Como. This I found really interesting because...
Which does mean that Blofeld was in Italy.
Yeah.
So James was right about that. Como is in Italy. So.
Yeah. Please don't do that. All right. Someone else take it away. Tracy, go for it.
Oh, welcome in, King Aladdin.
Wrong book.
And Taylor.
Welcome, Taylor.
Hey, Taylor.
So I was going to look it up.
So he goes to meet Mark Ange.
Well, he goes back and gets.
Yeah, you guys pick it up
She
because
changes
I got
his
I got
bandages.
texted from somebody. I'm trying to look something up.
He let Tracy redo his bandages, if I read it correctly, because he's talking about how much that hurt. But he told her to go ahead and do it. They needed to be done, and then they got dressed. And he asked, well, I guess Mark Ange asked her for 30 minutes. She was supposed to wait in the room 30 minutes, so he and James could have a conversation. So during all this, he's sort of trying to buy James off in a sense.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how Bond took it. He said, I'm not going to be owing you. Go ahead.
Well, he had promised him to give him all this money if he would marry Tracy.
Yeah.
And so he was following up on his deal, wanting to know where to send the money and what bank account and that sort of thing. And I hate to.
Well, I think partly too, Draco's not 100% certain that he really is in love with Teresa. That he's just kind of going along with the deal because that's the way he was able to get help.
Yeah.
But now it's, Bond is telling him, no, I'm in this for the right reasons. I love your daughter and that's why we're doing it. So don't worry about the money.
Yeah.
So, hey, MVP.
Okay, sorry. All right, where are we?
So we were talking about the meeting with Mark.
I don't know where you are.
Chris, where are we? I'm going to let you talk.
We're talking about the meeting with Mark Ange.
Okay. All right.
He's going to it now.
And that he was offering to give him the money, but Bond was refusing to take it. Mark Ange even offered to set up a trust fund for their children, and Bond even refused that. He said that he thought it would be fun to basically be on a budget and having to pick the things that would make them happy and that sort of thing.
Go
ahead.
We also, we skipped a part because we skipped the part about him going out on his little bachelor party thing where he gets the ring and hangs out with the taxi driver and gets drunk.
I had a few beers.
Yeah.
Because then when he comes back to meet with Draco, Tracy tells him, "Hey, you kind of reek."
Yeah.
That's very becoming. Like you greet your fiance, and you smell like a drunken skunk. Yeah. That might be a deal. No, it wouldn't be a deal breaker for me, but that made me laugh. That made me laugh a good deal.
I also thought, like, when Mark Ange was talking to Bond, I felt like, it's kind of like maybe he's seen his daughter in such a really, really bad place and everything that had happened. And I couldn't help but see, like, that he was just so happy that she had found someone that, he actually liked and that she loved and was going to be someone good for her. And I almost feel like, I don't know, sometimes it seems like, sometimes it's like, if, because, a parent is like, what can I do to like, what to help you or whatever. And I felt like he was like, well, you have to let me do this, and of course no one says no to him, but this was a little different, it was a little bit different, but I kind of thought it was, I don't know. I think when I see him talking, when Bond talks to Mark Ange and it's about his daughter and stuff, it's almost like he's not that mob person, that human person. I don't know. It's just interesting.
Nice. All right. Did anybody welcome in Andrea, MVP?
Yes,
okay.
I did.
And King Aladdin says that he won't be watching our streams the 19th to the 25th because he's doing something really fun that I kind of wish I was doing. So that's really cool. All right.
So just going back to this conversation with Mark Ange and Bond, I think someone had said it. maybe Mark Ange was still thinking he was involved because of the money that was offered.
Yeah.
I like the way that Bond pretty much says, no, that's not why I'm doing this. I'm really, truly in love with your daughter. But you also have to remember, I like the part in this conversation where he was like, well, my daughters are used to a certain level of living and standard. And then Bond said, if I agree to take this money and I give her that life of what she's used to, then I'm just like every other playboy she's ever married or she's ever been with. So you want someone solid for your daughter, let it be me. Unfortunately, we know what comes on, and, there's a downside to being with someone like Bond.
Yeah. I really think that this part was a good example of Bond's character. I really loved this. I think that it shows that he has integrity, and he truly loves her and wants to take care of her, and he wants it to be on his level, and not, yeah. Anyways, I really do love that. All right. So are we ready to move on to the next chapter?
I think so.
Okay, which is the last chapter, chapter 27, and the title of it is All the Time in the World. And if I cannot compose myself, you will know why by the end of this book. So I love the way the chapter starts off where it says, I do. James Bond said those words at 10:30 in the morning of a crystal clear New Year's Day in the British Consul General's drawing room, and he meant them. Love that. All right. Who wants to take this one? Chris? Tim?
Go ahead, Tina.
I'll do it.
Gina?
Or Gina can. Gina,
Yeah, I don't mind.
let's Gina do it. She's Miss Quiet down there.
Here's why this part confuses me, because are they in the ceremony right now, or practicing in the mirror or something?
No, I think they are. I think
They're in the ceremony.
Because I just got mixed up in the wording. Okay. So
when I first read it, I thought they had I'm like, did they just do that? Did they just get married and that was it? Like, that's all the, I mean, I don't know if the movie's going to be different in that way, because I've never seen the movie, but it was weird out, and then I read back and I'm like, oh, okay, they just got married. Like, wow. Okay. That was a little bit.
It's kind of like a justice of the peace type wedding. I mean, they went to the courthouse basically. It's not really the courthouse, but they went to the judge's house basically.
Who actually made it, and he actually made exceptions so they could get married quickly.
Yes,
because normally it would take long and have to run, I guess, the papers through for whatever reason that is. But
well, I think there was at that time there was a waiting period that you had to have. A certain amount of time that you are engaged, and that you're making sure that basically that the wedding should go through and all of that. So,
well, that's probably true. I forgot about that.
Yep. All right. So yeah, let's see. I have the only thing I highlighted was what I just read to you guys, and then everything else is okay. Next page.
Well,
yeah.
I thought it was interesting that M is the best man.
Yeah, I did too.
And that and then Draco shows up to the wedding and he's got British medals on. And this is where we learn that he has worked with the British military before and done missions with them and worked with them before. Yeah. Whereas Bond wasn't aware of that.
Yep.
And but then later on we see that Draco basically took those jobs on so that he could get in with the British government.
Yeah. Well, he and him, I think I'm in the right story here. I don't want to make sure I'm not in the movie, but he and him even have some conversation after the ceremony, I believe, about old times, if you will. M says something about, I hadn't seen you since something happened, and they wander off. That's kind of the last thing you see or hear of them in the book, I believe.
Yeah.
So they've actually, I don't remember M making those comments anytime before this, like they knew each other, but obviously they did.
Yeah. So, all right, I'm just going to catch up on chat real quick. Kelly is ninja watching. I love you, Kelly. Thank you so much for ninja watching. Tina McNeil says, aren't there many weddings like that? They say the bands they say the bands, as they call it. Then, if they want, they have the big wedding. But the bands are the real wedding with the witnesses and all.
Well, you have the legal wedding, but then you also have the ceremony. So
Yeah.
at least that's what it is here. Yeah.
You know, I guess that's true because I never thought about that. But my daughter and her husband kind of did that. They got married before the ceremony.
So did Jim and Pam on The Office.
That's true.
Oh yeah.
Jim and Pam got married on the boat under Niagara Falls, and then they went to the wedding reception. I'm an Office fan. I remembered.
I've never seen The Office, so I didn't know that.
You were missing something, bud.
I like it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get past the first season. The first season got a little. The second season on, just it makes much more of a better show.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this is the part that raises suspicions with me when the consul general shakes Bond's hand and says, "I'm afraid we haven't managed to keep this as private as you like," because there's all these spectators that are around. Why are the spectators around? Well, a woman reporter came from the Miniature Illustrator, whatever, this morning. Wouldn't say who she was. Gossip writer, I suppose, had to give her the bare facts. Like, if I was Bond, I would have said, "Keep this hush hush" to everybody involved. Don't.
Well, and that's what their plan was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it failed.
Well, how do you know this wasn't Irma Bunt?
That's who I assumed it was.
That's who I think it is.
Yes, I thought so too. So she gets all the different. He gave her all the details, time of wedding, exact details, and I almost wonder, like, is this general guy in on it too? Is he in with Blofeld or something? Or was
I don't know.
Or paid by Blofeld to get facts? I don't know, because it's like, if they were told that if they were going to keep this private, then why? I don't know. But anyways, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of feel like he's just a regular guy. He's just a regular official, but this lady has shown up, and has just nosing around, and just to find out for sure that this is their wedding. I feel, she's just trying to figure it out. And then they also discussed the fact that someone decorated the car, and they didn't want that, but that's either the wife of the consul had done it or someone else had done it, but they never really know.
Well, how do we really not know that this might not have been Blofeld and Irma Bunt who decorated the car, knowing that this would be an easy pick out on the highway? Here we have a car full of ribbon, full of tags. They know exactly what car to hit, exactly what to do.
Yeah.
So we're not 100% sure, but this could totally be, hey, X marks the spot type thing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think that till just now.
I think that's what it is.
Even if the consul general's wife did it, like Tina said, maybe they were in on something here. Maybe they were in Blofeld's pocket. We don't really know that.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, Spectre, which is the group that he runs, is usually you see it in the newer James Bond movies. It's leaked and it's throughout everybody. So like almost all organizations has their fingers in it everywhere. So we're not sure. Maybe someone in the consulate is part of Spectre or has dealings with him. So realistically, once the news got out, and once it was once Blofeld got word from Irma that's, hey, listen, this guy who was at their place doing this, the Englishman, he puts feelers out, realizes who Bond is, and now he knows what Bond looks like, but he would also need to know, especially on the Autobahn, what the car that he's looking for. Because I remember growing up, when people were talking about the Autobahn was a non-speed limit road in West Germany. It wasn't speed limit until it actually got together and they had to build up the east side. So you go down the Autobahn, you can just go as fast as you want. There's no big deal. So you got to figure, if you're on the Autobahn, you're going to have some way to pick out this car.
Yeah. Hey, Mike.
Mike, welcome in Mike Wheeler, Disinfinity Daniel, and
John Surfbums.
Thank
also
you.
welcome.
Surf bum. Look him in, guys. Yeah.
That's a good point, and they may have also realized that at some point Bond would probably stop the car and take that stuff off, maybe, because that would make it a much easier target, for lack of a better word, once he's standing still.
See, me reading the book, I just assumed it was it was a way to mark the car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good point.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. So
I mean, that's what I would do. I'd totally mark somebody's car so I could find it later, so I could.
Well, that way you could stay with the Autobahn like you were talking about, Tracy. You could stay far enough back
and
where
still
you
find
could
it.
pick your spot, but you could still know which car it is that you're aiming
I mean,
for.
yeah. Once I find out what Chris from Dad Builds drives, I'm definitely decorating the heck out of that car.
You'll never see me coming.
Well, do you drive a camo truck?
He's not going to
One of those
say.
invisible cars. He drives one of those invisible cars like Wonder Woman.
The invisible van.
oh gosh. This is our dream. Jeff, welcome in. Good to see you. Are you okay, Jeff? I just seen
Yes, Jeff. Are you okay? We're concerned about you.
Yeah.
Was there an accident recently?
Did something happen? I don't.
Was there a waterfall?
It was a startling stream.
I'll tell you guys later.
Oh, it was definitely a stream.
Sorry, I was so loud. Sorry. Oh my gosh. Okay, all right. We're almost done with this book. Let's carry on. So we're in the vehicle.
We're getting to the best part, though.
We're cruising, and I love the conversation that they have in the vehicle. This is the conversation I was getting confused with the first one that I was talking about. So they pull over, they do change up, the car, you put the hood down, whatever, and whatever else it was.
Yeah, put the top down, yeah.
Yeah. And so I love this. Bond reached for her, took her in his arms, and he kissed her tenderly and says, "That's the first thing. And I just want to say that I'll look after you, Teresa. Would you mind being looked after?" And she, she held him away, and she looks at him and she says, "That's what it means being Mr. and Mrs., doesn't it? They don't say Mr. and Mrs. and Mr. But you need looking after too. Let's just look after each other." And that wrecked me, obviously.
Yeah.
So they do whatever they need to do on the car, and then as they're driving, he's noticing some things that are along the route, where I think it's like where they were doing, what was it? Excuse me. There's a place where German tourists traditionally stopped. Clue me in. Go ahead.
He's describing where they're going getting her excited about where they're going, for the honeymoon. Yeah. And so he's describing the castle, he's describing the town, he's describing, that they're going to this, nice area in Germany. So
right.
And then they notice across the street while they're stopped the
Maserati.
The red Maserati.
Put the top down too.
Yeah. And I thought that was really obviously more foreshadowing, but I thought it was really interesting that they point that out in the book, like this red Maserati, and what they're doing, what they look like. He couldn't really get a good look, but he's wondering if she looks good because it's a couple.
Well, he's admiring the car. I mean, he's admiring the car. He's thinking
like any guy would.
Yeah, I mean, he's just looking at the car.
It's a guy thing.
Yeah.
He noticed the car at the reception.
Some girls like cars too. I mean, it's just
he actually noticed the car at the reception, if I'm not mistaken, but just noticed the car and thought the couple in it didn't look all that much like Maserati people or something to that effect. And and then they realized later it was following them, or they saw it again.
Yeah.
Right.
And
so 10 minutes later, Teresa says, "There's a red car coming."
You can go back to Tracy. That's fine. I'm messing with you.
Do you want me to lose him? And Bond says, "No, let him go. We've got all the time in the world."
So it's also funny here too, the comparison again. They're driving her car,
Yep. Yeah,
it's a
she's the one driving.
it's a Lancia, which was not that. I don't know if there's ever been a Lancia in a Bond movie, and she's driving. He's not. I mean, which I thought was different. I mean, I kind of expected him to be driving. So this is another sort of a role reversal that by being married now, she's kind of.
But you have to remember too, Tim, in the very beginning, he always admired her driving. That's how they first met. Was that?
Well, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, it's they're still in that same white Lantern that she's been driving the whole book. I mean, that's her car. I mean, that's
which is what she should have been driving in the movie. Nobody drives a red Cougar in Europe from the 60s.
Oh gosh. All right. So they let the Maserati pass. They wave him. Bond waves him, thumbs him, waves him, whatever it is. But then the whine changed to a shattering roar. The windscreen of the Lancia disappeared as if hit by a monster first. Bond caught a glimpse of a taut, snarling mouth under a syphilitic nose, the flash illuminator, and some automatic gun being withdrawn, and then the red car was past and the Lancia was going like hell off the verge across a stretch of snow and smashing a path through a young copse. I don't know what that word is. COPSE.
Copse. It's like a little stand of trees.
Oh, I got it. Then Bond's head crashed into the windscreen frame and he was out. When he
totally read that as a corpse.
Yeah, well, I was because I when I read, I listen to David Tennant, so I heard him say it. I just had no idea what the heck it was.
I would listen to David Tennant too.
Yeah, he was amazing. So when he came to, a man in the khaki uniform of the Autobahn Patrol was shaking him. The young face was stark with horror and says something to him in German. And Bond turns toward Tracy. She was lying forward with her face buried in the ruins of the steering wheel. Her pink handkerchief had come off, and the bell of her golden hair hung down and hid her face. Bond put his arm around her shoulders, across which the dark patches had begun to flower. He pressed her against him. He looked up at the young man and smiled his reassurance. "It's all right," he said in a clear voice, as if explaining something to a child. "It's quite all right. She's having a rest. We'll be going soon. There's no hurry. You see," Bud's head sank down against hers, and he whispered into her hair, "You see, we've got all the time in the world." Oh gosh, I'm going to start crying. The young patrolman took a last scared look at the motionless couple, hurried over to his motorcycle, picked up the hand microphone, and began talking urgently to the rescue headquarters.
The
end of the book.
When I first read this, I first thought that it was like, well, I'm like, when all the things were going right after the wedding and stuff, I'm like, oh, this is really nice. But I'm like, oh, it kind of also feels like it's too good to be true. I didn't expect this. But when at first, maybe like couple minutes that I was reading this, I read it again. And then I realized I thought that they both had died. Mm-hmm. I thought that he was like, I don't know. I just it was almost like a dream that he was talking and that they were both dead. And then when he said, "You see, we've got all the time in the world," I was thinking, oh, they must have both died, and now they're like, past. But
I'm assuming at that point in time when he said that to her, he wished he did die with her.
Oh yeah.
But
could be.
There's a lot more James Bond books to come, so you don't kill off your main character.
Yeah. I didn't really know a lot about.
Jeff, that's the end.
Right. I was like, well, I mean, I've seen
it. It's a definite cliffhanger.
Yeah, I didn't know that there was more. And when I told my husband, he's like, well, there's a lot more. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I didn't know that, but thought this was it, But
yeah, it's a definite cliffhanger. Well, and then I wanted to point out too, we kind of, as you were reading it, Tina, they describe the guy who's smirking in the car, who's driving the car, and Ian Fleming, talks about his nose. And remember back when Bond was trying to figure out, all the genealogy stuff, the whole thing about the nose not matching what, was supposed to be. His nose stood out as a feature that his ancestors, didn't have. And so that right there, says, well, this is Blofeld. And so, yeah, it's Blofeld and Irma, and they're, they've come
Taking
and
revenge.
They're getting their revenge.
Yeah.
And so again, Blofeld escapes, so definite cliffhanger.
So when we watch the movie, you're going to definitely tell how this ends, and it's in the movie. You definitely could see who killed. I think in the movie they should have kept it kind of vague, as they did in the book, because we know who did it. But I think if they would have kept it vague, but I think there was issues with the Blofeld character in future movies. I think they really killed him off simply. I think if Roger Moore killed him off in one of their movies, that was super stupid. Go ahead, Mr. Sad Tennessee Bear.
I was just had a question about the movie. Are we going to discuss it today or next week?
Next week.
Okay. I don't want to say what I was going to say now.
So
Yeah.
I thought these 2 chapters leading up to this scene, you can really tell that Bond's kind of fully in love because he's out of the normal Bond mindset.
Yeah.
All the way up until that engine kicks into high gear, the V8 kicks in, but then it's too late. And
yeah, it's just like him not seeing Irma Bunt on the street. I mean, in full Bond mode, you would think he would have always been looking. And
well, that with this red Maserati, I mean, how much more can you stand out than with a red Maserati?
True.
And it's tailed him this entire time, and he hasn't noted. Well,
Well,
he hasn't fully.
He knew he saw the car originally, but he didn't put 2 and 2 together.
well, remember,
you're right. He has mind on other things here.
remember that's been a theme the entire book. It's Teresa's always been a distraction for him.
True.
Because he messed up at the ski place. I mean, because he was thinking of her instead of the mission. It's always been a distraction. The relationship's always been a distraction for him. And so that the whole theme, I think, to me, is Bond figuring out his life, because he's the whole book. Well, do I want to continue to be a secret agent, or do I want to settle down and do my own thing, or do I want to fall in love and or do I want to continue with the mission? It's just this back and forth with I mean, it's a huge step for Bond, I think, in his character. So, and
I think if you look at the character arc altogether, if you look at the Ian Fleming's work altogether, he had a bunch of books up until he gets to this book. This book here gives him that Love and Lost, which the next book would actually more solidify the character of James Bond. I mean, if we look at the current James Bond series with the reboot of Casino Royale, if I'm not mistaken, he falls for a girl who was they do this kind of thing in that current movie series or the reboot, where he falls for the girl that he's working with, and he was willing to resign until he finds out that she was using him to get to the money. Blah 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 blah.
There's always a Bond girl in the
right,
movie.
But this Bond girl itself, he fell hard for. I think the next book, the next movie, or the next story solidifies that character as Bond as being the Bond that we know. Mm-hmm. The male chauvinist, the doing anything to get the job done, sleep with as many people as he needs to sleep with to do the job that he has to. This book here, where there might have been an overarching story where it was like, okay, we know what a James Bond does. James Bond sleeps, does job, get the job done, sleep with who he wants to. We hit this book. It gives us another side of Bond. It says, hey, listen, Bond actually is a person. He fell for somebody. We kill the girl. The next book, the next story, we get a real Bond. You know what I mean? It gives that. Well, it changes that whole attitude.
It definitely makes him evaluate, his decisions. So, did you see Jeff's comment?
No.
see, be a secret agent, love bite. I can say because Angela's a vampire. Oh my gosh, Jeff, you are so fun.
I just want to know if Jeff followed those last words. We do know we've learned yesterday on Kenzie's stream that he didn't know what the Pina Colada song was.
What?
He didn't.
He didn't know. I saw that too. I was devastated. I mean, who doesn't know that?
Has he never watched Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1?
Do you like pina coladas?
Well, that's a good point, Chris. I'd forgotten about
In the
that.
rain. I just want to know if he does the next
Tina's
verse.
broke again.
What? Did I freeze?
No.
Tina's broke.
She didn't freeze, but she's broken.
Oh, I do that at least
You
once.
need to take control. Take control.
I have no.
This book, I think this was Ian Fleming. Oh, I'm sorry, Tina. I couldn't hear you.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Sound like your mic was going away. And this is the one time Ian Fleming. Well, no, not the only time. I guess Casino Royale might be an exception, but this was the one time Ian Fleming got to these kind of emotions. He didn't let Bond. I mean, this is the only time he wrote Bond this vulnerable, I think.
Well, yeah, that's what I think too. I mean, I think this is a definite character switch for him. You know,
and you're right. It probably had a lot to do with his developing character down the road. I mean, as it went through because I don't, you know.
Well, and to me, you know, this is the middle book of a trilogy. You know, to me, because it's the Blofeld story. You know, you've got Thunderball, you've got this one, and I don't know what the next one is. I can't remember. But you know, the whole story of Blofeld. This is the one where Blofeld wins. You know.
Yeah, true.
And he gets away again, and so it motivates Bond now even more so to catch him.
Right.
So,
there's another book in the trilogy. So this is the Empire Strikes Back of this.
Kinda.
James Bond.
Yeah, kind of. That's a good way to look at it. And I don't know in
Chris,
the movie.
enlightenment right there.
Yeah,
I just read Jeff's comment.
another one.
That he couldn't put 2 and 2 together.
He
four,
didn't
Jeff.
put the two comments together.
It's 4. 2 and 2 equals 4, Jeff. We know you have problems with it sometimes, but it's 2 and 2 equals 4.
All right, so it's 3:55. We're coming up at the 4 o'clock hour. This was a fast. I didn't think we were going to have any content to fill because we only had 2
Wow,
chapters.
it went fast. Didn't it?
Well,
it
you
went
had
fast.
me, who distracted a lot.
That's quite.
no, I
true.
mean there was a lot packed into these last 2 chapters. I mean,
There
even
really
though they're
was.
short chapters, there's a lot packed into them.
You know, it's a couple of the shortest chapters in the book too, and there was a lot happened in these 2 chapters.
Yes.
A lot that affected,
Yeah.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. So up next, guys, is Carlos Disney World Freak. Go check him out. I will be hopping on with him as soon as we're done, and so will Chris, I think, and whoever else. I have no idea because I never know. So let's go around the horn, and we'll start with Tim, and we'll work our way up.
I'll be on Saturday morning at 10, and probably a longer show this week. So I'm pretty sure Coffee and Contemplation's off for at least a week. I think they're gonna try to skip every other week. We'll see, but so I'll be on for at least an hour, and if nobody else is doing anything, we may hang around and chat for longer. But that's the only thing I've got going right now.
Awesome. Gina, you have anything you want to promote?
Not really. I have some ideas. Talked to my daughter today. She's willing to help me with some stuff. So, but that's where I'm at.
Awesome.
Good.
Oops. Chris, how about you?
Well, I did something yesterday.
Uh-oh.
If you want to check that out, that's out there. So,
Oh, is this the best clip of the week?
yeah, this is the clip of the week.
Awesome vlog.
I'll have to check that. I haven't checked that out.
I only say it because it doesn't involve me. So
Just wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few more days left in the week, Tracy. You still got
I
time.
told Chris you better just set up Mondays that you dedicate to Jeff. You know, after the weekend. So,
True. It's so much material to work with there. It's hard to get on to anybody else.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hi,
Ann.
Annie.
Sorry,
But
Jeff.
no, I'm working on a couple of things, but nothing yet. Unless something pops up, you never know.
So true. And you doing NASCAR on Sunday?
Oh yes, we're doing NASCAR on Sunday.
Oh, it's Bristol Dirt, isn't it? Or is that next week?
We're at
We're running
Bristol
on
on
dirt
the
for
dirt.
the first time, huh? How much you want to bet they take a left?
They'll take a left,
You think?
and they'll actually take that left trying to steer right. So it'll be fun
Yeah,
to watch.
it's true.
So
This would be like what's his name in the Cars movie?
Doc Hudson.
Doc Hudson,
Hudson.
baby.
Turn left to turn right to turn left. So
Yeah, it's going to be fun. So
I can't believe they're doing that. I just hauling that much dirt into that place.
Wouldn't it be cool though if they actually did it in like the old timey moonshiner cars? I mean,
Well, that would be. But I'm thinking they're going to have to. It's more technical than we probably have time for. But
Well,
I'm thinking they're going to have to change car bodies. I mean, you don't run the kind of cars they run on asphalt on dirt. I mean,
listen, not for nothing. You know that dirt's going to be pretty flat. So,
it's going to be hard. I want to see how they keep the dirt on the track. If you've ever walked on Bristol, and I have, it's. Oh, I'm shut up. I'm shut up.
No,
Yeah.
you're fine.
I got waved off.
No, I was waving to Ian.
Oh, okay. Anyway, it's very steep. I don't know how they're going to keep dirt on it, to be honest, but
they've had it on for a couple of weeks. They've already been running a few races on it. So it's
okay. So
good
it's
to go.
packed. Yeah, okay.
Awesome. All right, Russ, what do you have coming up?
Saturday, gonna be just hanging out, building some Lego, and some friends will be coming by. So just hanging out. Yeah.
Cool. All right, Tracy, what about you?
Thursday, we have Not Wasting Time at 4:00. I probably will be discussing the unknown story of Lord of the Rings. Will Sam and Frodo go to the Crack of Doom? No, I don't know. I broke
we can make
at
some
least
more of that story.
Three people at once I cracked up. That is the best. I've said it.
All about the Dingle Hobbits.
Oh, my gosh.
Tim, I don't know if you've seen that or not, but it's an interesting photo.
I'm shaking my head, and it was my idea. So I'm like,
no, I guess I haven't. I'm
Wait
going
a
to have
minute.
to.
I don't know for sure what I'm going to do.
Well, yes. Maybe I have seen that with
Yeah.
Kenzie. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Or is that different? Yeah, I've seen that.
Well,
Something different.
Well, we're going to see if we can figure out what to do on Thursday. I'll be inviting some of my friends. I'm assuming my friends that are currently here with me. It's almost like the weekday hangout. The whole week hangout, we hang out together. So it's like having good friends all the time. We are not doing pizza this Friday because Jeff and Ange is going to be back on the road on Saturday, so it gives them time to get together. Jeff, I 100% agree with that. And then Sunday we have Nerd Talk on Kenzie Day's channel. We're going to be talking about the second episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier. And then Kenzie's back on Monday with her stream. Who knows? It could be What Should Matt Do in Disney Part 3. I
think that's going to be the theme from now until you get the US coming June. So.
It could be. That's possible.
Are you guys driving or flying?
Oh, we're driving. We're definitely doing car streams.
No, good.
We're doing a driving stream. Absolutely.
Car karaoke with Tracy.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh my gosh.
You know you're getting that.
Oh boy.
I'm going to say,
Okay.
do you like pina coladas?
I'm trying, guys.
Both hands on the wheel. Both hands on the wheel.
Man. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Tune in tomorrow for Wednesday Whateverness. We're going to be talking Loungefly. And no, not just my one bag. It'll be a bunch of us coming on.
The whole show will be about her one bag.
The whole show will be. I have Katrina coming on. I have Eileen from The Adventures of BP. Happily Ever Yachty. Mickey's Girls. Danielle from Mickey's Girls. And hopefully Meg. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So I'm really excited. So go check that out. And then Saturday, something brand new is happening. I'm setting up a new show, and it's not just me. We've got T Squared.
Yeah.
Every other Saturday at 6 p.m. This is what we're going to be doing. This week, we're going to be talking about an adult Disney trip versus Disney trip with kids. So you want to make sure that you catch that if you have experienced either one of these things or both. I've done both. I'm going to be the kid side this time, and Tina McNeil will be the adult Disney side. So it's going to be really interesting. And we have some really great topics. We have about 4 to 5 weeks of topics all planned out, and so I'm super excited about this.
Chris, we need to create their opening and use the Terminator music.
Yeah,
because that's what I keep hearing every time I hear
Judgment Day.
You want to do that? Totally fine. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching.
I'll be back.
Oh, goodness gracious.
No,
all right, guys. I will be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Check you guys later. Remember, think of a wonderful thought. Any merry little thought. See you guys later.